All right, hey again, 5th grade. Today we're going to be talking about Unit 9, Lesson 2. Our aim for today is students will be able to divide a unit fraction by a whole number by drawing a visual model. Our think about it says, 3 friends are sharing half pan of leftover lasagna, pictured below in part A. This could be represented by the equation below. Half divided by 3 equals question mark. Part A, what fraction of the lasagna does each friend get? Solve the problem using the model provided to get started. So we see here that we have a full pan of lasagna. However, we only had half of this pan left. So that's our grade out portion. We had half of this pan left. Now we need to represent that we are splitting this half a pan that is left. We are splitting this half a pan into 3. So I'm simply just going to take my marker and I'm going to split this pan into 3 parts. What I do to one side, of course, I'm going to do to the other. In this case, I'm going to use dotted lines because we're not really worried about the other side. It is going to give us our new denominator though. So as we can see, our new denominator becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our new denominator becomes 6. Each friend will get 1 part of that 6. So this is for friend number 1. This is for friend number 2. And this is for friend number 3. So each friend will get 1/6 of the lasagna. Let's look at part B. Part B says, Kelly says that we can think of the problem as each friend gets 1/3 of 1/2. Do you agree with her thinking? Show your work. So Kelly is saying each friend could get 1/3 of the 1/2. Take a few moments and think about that. Is that what we represented in part A? I say yes, I agree with Kelly because dividing 1/2 by 3, which we did up here, is the same as finding 1/3 of 1/2. And I also provided an example for you guys at the bottom. So we have 1/3 times 1/2. Which gives us at the end 1/6. So yes, I do agree with Kelly. It is like representing the same thing. Let's take a look at our test of conjecture questions for today. So we have 2 test of conjecture questions for today. We are going to test to see if that's true. Is dividing in a way that we did in our think about it, is that the same as a form of multiplication that we can do? Let's take a look at that. So test of conjecture number 1 says, find the quotient 1/4 divided by 2. So before we even go into splitting it up or making our model or actually solving, I know that to me, this is the same as saying we are going to split 1/4 in half. Because we know when we divide something by 2, we are essentially splitting in half. It is another form of us saying split something in half. So we know this is the same as splitting 1/4 in half. So I'm just going to note that here. Split 1/4 in half. Let's take a look at that. So we said before that dividing by our fraction or our unit fraction by a whole number is the same as finding, in this case, 1/2 of 1/4. Let's see if that's the case. If we start with 1/4 and we multiply it by 1/2, we are going to get our numerator times our numerator over our denominator times our denominator. 1 times 1, we know is 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Our answer will be 1/8. Let's just check that. In this case, we are going to check using the model. So I'm just going to simply draw my model. This model represents 1 whole. We know that of our 1 whole, we need to make 4 equal pieces. We need to make 4 equal pieces to represent our unit fraction. I'm going to shade one of those pieces to represent my 1/4. However, we need to now divide each part in half. So I'm just going to use a different color marker so that you can see. But I'm simply going to divide each part in half. We see that our new denominator becomes 8 because we have 8 parts here. One of these sections represent my 1/8 that I also got as my answer. So remember, when we are dividing a unit fraction by a whole number, it is the same as multiplying by a fraction. Let's take a look. So our second test of conjecture says, Alexis has a lot of studying to do over the holiday break. She wants to complete 1/5 of her homework equally over 3 days. What is the fraction of her homework she would do each day? So as always, we are going to write our goal for this problem. Our goal is to find the fraction of homework Alexis completes daily. Our goal is to find the fraction of homework Alexis completes daily. So in this problem, we know that she completes 1/5 of her homework over 3 days. So we know that our expression will be 1/5 divided by 3. It is the same as asking ourselves, what is 1/5 split into 3 parts? We are asking ourselves, what is 1/5 split into 3 parts? So just like we talked about before, 1/5 divided by 3 is the same as dividing 1/5 by 3 is the same as finding 1/3 of 1/5. So we can simply keep our 1/5 the same, change our division sign into multiplication, and find the reciprocal of 3, which is going to be the opposite of 3, the inverse of 3, which would be 1/3 in this case. So as always, we are going to do numerator times numerator over denominator times denominator. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 3 is 15. We see that Alexis does 1/15 of her homework daily or each day. As always, we are going to perform a check step for this problem. We are simply going to check our work using a model. So one whole model is going to represent all of the homework. So all homework. We are going to break our homework into fifths. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parts. We are going to shade one whole part of that 5 to represent our 1/5. Each of those parts we are going to break into thirds to represent our 1/3. I'm going to use a different color marker, but here we go. As we can see, we have a total of 15 equal parts now. One of these parts represent 1/15, which is the amount of homework she will complete each day. So our conjecture for today is dividing by a whole number is the same as taking a fraction of that number.